Welcome to video 1 on how to outsmart your fat cells. We're going to dive right into the information, and I'm going to reveal to you some scientifically proven and research-backed techniques how you can target fat. This video is all about belly fat and food, and I'm going to talk to you about two of the key things that I think that is really important for you to understand when it comes to fat accumulation and how food is metabolized in our body. So the first thing I want to talk about is one thing that we need to understand in order to prevent our body from accumulating fat in the first place. And that's the difference between glucose and fructose. So I want you to think of glucose as a type of sugar and fructose as well as a type of sugar. But even though they're very similar in their chemical makeup, the body metabolizes them very, very differently. So glucose is what makes sugar sweet, right? And fructose is not just in high fructose corn syrup, but it's in some natural ingredients that you're going to be surprised that I'm going to tell you about as well in a little while. So the way that fructose and glucose is metabolized, when it goes into the stomach, if you notice on the left side, glucose actually can be metabolized and used up by your muscles and by your brain. It really does serve as the main fuel source for your body. So in order for you to actually store glucose as fat, you would have to eat more than what you're able to use during your activity and through your thinking process. Our brain actually loves glucose. It helps us to think clearer. It helps us to our memory to improve, and it really does function as the main fuel for everything that has to happen metabolically. Fructose, on the other hand, although that it's similar to glucose, it is not the same. Fructose is not metabolized by your muscle in your brain. It has to go through your liver first. And the thing about when your fructose goes through your liver is that it will store as fat. So research shows that about 30% of fructose is actually stored as fat through the liver. What that means is that even if you eat healthy, even if you exercise, even if you try to watch what you're eating, if your source of calorie is coming from fructose, it will be metabolized as fat. That makes it that much harder to access it and burn it. So it's almost like in your body, your fructose goes through the liver, and then you have to get access to it because you want to burn it for activity or to lose weight, and you kind of knock on liver's door and you're like, can I get those calories back? I think you converted it into fat and you stored it up, and liver is like, yeah, I already even put it on the shelf and I done closed the door and I got something in front of it. So you got to negotiate with the liver in order to get the fat back so that you can burn it, so it can convert it into insulin, and then you can possibly use it. So it's much more difficult to burn fat when it's already been stored through the liver as fat. So we want to avoid our liver having to metabolize the sugar and the sweetness. So when you think fructose, generally, we think of processed foods. We think of things like boxed macaroni and cheese and cereals and frozen pizzas. But you got to be aware that high fructose corn syrup is also in yogurt and in breads and in salad dressings and even in things like our tomato sauces, canned fruit, and applesauce. Can you imagine? High fructose corn syrup is embedded in all of these foods that people would otherwise think that they were healthy. You might go to the store and say, well, I'm going to get me a low-fat yogurt. But if you turn around and look at the ingredients, you're going to find high fructose corn syrup as one of the ingredients of the yogurt. But here is the thing. Fructose is also a naturally occurring sweetener, and sometimes in people's effort to eat healthy, they actually consume too much. Here are some of the places that you're going to find fructose that even if you're a healthy eater, you probably have in your house. Honey. Honey is 100% fructose. So it does have a lot of benefits. So I'm not saying don't eat honey, but I am saying that if you have a problem with belly fat, you want to minimize it. So instead of having honey every single day, 2 or 3 times as you're drinking tea, an effort for you to stave off hunger or for you to get some of the benefits of the honey, because it does have a lot of benefits to it. You want to make sure that you minimize. Maybe you want to substitute 1 or 2 of those teas with actual brown sugar, natural cane sugar, which is glucose, instead of the fructose of the honey. Another source of lots of concentrated fructose is dried fruit. So fruit in general has fructose in it. However, when the fruit is dried, the sugar, which is fructose for fruit, it is concentrated. And because it's so small, it's really easy to overeat too many of those dried fruit that can actually increase the amount of insulin in your body and your consumption of fructose. So again, this is another natural food, in quotations, that you want to make sure that you limit, not eliminate, but just limit. The other place where people tend to have fructose, our healthy eaters, is drinking juice. So juice is concentrated sugar. I personally do not recommend juice. If you are on a health and fitness diet and your goal is to lose weight and to reduce your belly fat, just eliminate juice altogether. It's liquid calories. It's concentrated fructose. You also, it's really not natural. If nature wanted us to have the juice of 10 apples in one serving, it would have put the juice of 10 apples in one serving of an apple, but it didn't. The fructose is compared with fiber, which is great within the whole apple because it mitigates how our body absorbs the sugar and raises our insulin level. So having fruit itself instead of fruit juice is very important. This is one of the issues as well that people who start juicing and doing smoothies tend to run into, right? So because we're trying to increase the amount of fruits and vegetables in our diet, we tend to overdo the fruit because it's sweet, it has fructose, and minimize the vegetables. So we want to add lots of leafy greens to those smoothies and not so many fruit, and certainly not the ones that are high on the glycemic index. We want to go for lower glycemic index fruits. The next thing that I'm going to talk to you about is the single most important nutrient for weight loss. That would be protein. Protein, hands down, is the single most important nutrient for weight loss. It does several things that's going to immensely help your journey. It takes more metabolic activity for our body to break down protein compared to what happens when we consume carbohydrates and what happens when we consume fats. So it's going to automatically boost your metabolism because it takes more calories and higher metabolic rate in order to process the protein in our body. It helps us feel full longer. Best macronutrient for that. Often when we want to lose weight, we need to reduce our calories. And because we're doing that, we don't want to feel hungry all the time. And what prevents us from doing that is making sure that we have adequate protein. So lean protein, that would be chicken and fish and seafood and dairy and beans, things that are low in fat, high in protein, and high in nutrients. It's really important. And science has actually proven this. So there's a study where researchers randomly split up women into 3 groups. Group 1 was the control group. This is the group that kept doing what they were doing before. Group 2, they were called the diet only group. So this one was a group where they reduced this one was the group where they gave them about 15% of their carbohydrates. They gave them about 15% of their diet from protein, which is the typical American diet. It was about 55% carbohydrates, 15% from protein. And then they had the high protein diet. So higher protein, so not high protein as if it's a low carb diet, but it was much higher than the typical American diet. So about 35% of their diet came from protein. Who do you think lost the most weight? The results of this study was astounding. Those on the carb-focused diet managed to shed about 1 to 2 pounds in 4 weeks. The high-protein group, they lost between 5 and 7 pounds. That's 200 to 300 times more than what the high-carb diet lost. Even better, the high-protein diet group, they shaved off primarily body fat, especially around the belly. That is absolutely astounding. There is one other thing about protein, the absolute best protein that I want to make sure that I reveal to you. So this particular type of protein has been shown hands down over and over again to be the best protein to help you gain lean muscle, reduce overall fat, but particularly reduce belly fat. And that secret protein is whey protein. So whey is a derivative of milk. And when they take whey protein and they have people to consume whey protein and they compare the groups of consuming whey protein, consuming poultry, and consuming fish, then they find that the body actually responds better to the whey protein. The group that uses whey protein always, in every study that compared whey protein to other sources of protein, it was hands down the best protein that gets the body to respond to burn fat. Now, I'm not selling any particular type of protein to you. I think you should do your own research around what is the best type, what is the best tasting, and you should go for it. But certainly you should include at least one whey protein shake in your diet each and every day if your goal is to lose weight and to lose belly fat. Now, I'm often asked, should I supplement my meals or can I have whey protein shakes for breakfast, lunch, and dinner? I say absolutely not. Remember, whey protein is a food supplement. It should supplement your natural foods. You want to make sure that you're getting the bulk of your diet from whole foods, but you can supplement your protein by having a whey protein shake each day. So that is where we want to leave this. There's so much more to this that I wish I can share with you, but I want to make sure that at least you got the 2 essential things that you need to do, that you need to eat, and to stop eating, and to limit in order for you to burn belly fat. Now, I want you to proceed to video 2, which should be in your inbox shortly, to tell you how to do exercises that will specifically burn belly fat. And this is some absolutely fascinating research. I have MRI scans to show you and some really interesting research studies to show you exactly the specific type of exercise that gets you to burn more belly fat than any other exercise. I'll see you and speak to you in the next video.